Hi guys, welcome to the Eliot estate. Today I am sitting in our lavender fields because I have two great varieties of lavender to add to our lavender fields, and I'm super excited because I was looking around. I had picked these up on a whim at one of our local nurseries, and I was looking around trying to figure out what rows I'm going to be putting them in, and I think these two varieties will finish out our fields. So depending on the variety of lavender, I have 2 to 3 rows dedicated to one variety, and I think we only have like 4 rows total that need to be filled in the end. So I think these will do it. So I have Sensational Lavender, which I was reading is a French hybrid lavender, and they're both of these varieties are rated down to a zone 5, which is great because we are in like a zone 6 here in Ohio. And I was reading that this gets about 2 feet was it 2 feet wide and then about 24 to 30 inches tall. So in the end, it'll be a really beautiful mound of lavender. I was also reading that this Sensational Lavender is really great for like the eastern United States because of its tolerance to damp spring soil, and then also to our humid heat, which is good because here in Ohio we get, rain and stuff. We're not like super drought tolerant or anything, which most varieties of lavender like. So today I wanted to get a couple house chores done. Obviously I want to get both of these varieties of lavender in the ground. Both of them are about ready to explode in blooms, which is awesome. And then I have a row of Ellagance purple, which needs a little bit of maintenance, which I will go over once these are in the ground. The SuperBlue variety, before we get to planting, the SuperBlue variety is a smaller, more compact lavender. So it's great for more like borders, like if you have a pathway going up to your front door and stuff, that one would be like a low growing pathway lavender. So I have that over in the second quadrant. It's just smaller. And then this Sensational Lavender is a very taller, you can already see it's wispy lavender stalks. So what I'm going to be doing, I don't know if I mentioned this, I only have 10 of the Sensational Lavender, and then I only have 6 of the SuperBlue variety. So what I already went through and I burned my holes, and I'll have to turn you guys around and show you a little bit better, but burn my holes in the landscaping fabric. And what I'm going to do is I have my auger set on the drill, and I'm going to go through and aug my holes. I'll throw in some Espoma, the organic starter mix, and that'll be my starter fertilizer. And then I'm going to plant these, so it should be fairly quick. What else? I think that's it. Most of these rows I do have set up on drip. However, I already have the supply line ran for this row. It could be ran. I think it'll be fine. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. But if I do need to run drip, I'll do so then. All right, so let me tell you what. If I were doing these lavender fields again, I would do things quite differently. Now you can see our squiggly lines, and you can see that I have a line ran to try and get it as straight as possible. The problem we had is whenever we were running our rows, we would overthink it and our lines would start to wobble and it would look horrible at example A. So what I'm doing is just running a string, and in the end, I don't think it's gonna matter, but we're gonna run our landscaping fabric down this path, and we're gonna have walking mulch in our walking paths. So in the end, the grass won't be there and you won't be able to see how jagged and off our initial rows are. Like I said, if I were doing this again, I think I would cover this entire quadrant. I wouldn't worry about running strips that are mounded and stuff. It was just kind of a pain in the tush, and I thought that by mounding them, it would help with drainage for the lavender, which they like, you know, well draining soil and that kind of thing. But anyway, so ignore the black plastic of where it's going. That's what I'm trying to get to. You can see that I have my 10 holes that are going to be perfectly straight in the end, and then over in our first quadrant I have 6 holes. This is the row that the SuperBlue is going to be going in, and you can see that I have some bearded iris in here. So for those who have OCD, close your eyes. These bearded iris will move out of here. I'm imagining this upcoming fall. But here at the end, I have 6 little holes ready for the SuperBlue. So you can see that, if in case you're new, you can see that most of the rows are not filled. You know, there's pockets of where we lost things, or maybe things just didn't survive. I'm going to be doing propagation cuttings off of, you know, the matured plants, and that is how we're going to fill up these rows. So you can see this entire row right here isn't filled, so I'm going to do a bunch of cuttings off of whatever variety is next to it that I need to have in that row. When we first started the lavender fields a couple years ago, there was only a select handful of lavender plants that I could get my hands onto at that time, and so we just started with whatever we could get, and that's where we're going. So I'll do propagation cuttings. That's the plan. Have never done it so far, but we're here to learn and try things. So that's the game plan. Right now I'm going to go grab the auger, and we're going to get these 2 varieties of lavender in the ground. Is our SuperBlue all happy in the ground. Only 6 of those. They weren't as rooted in their containers as the Sensational was, but I think they'll be a lot happier in the ground now. So I'll give them a little give them a little water, and then the Sensational is just right over this hay aisle. Let's walk over there quick. Here is the Sensational, and it needs a drink of water too. It's drooping. Just wee little babies. It's just so crazy because this I think it's Munstead. Munstead was what this was last year. It's just crazy the size that they put on. So like I said, ignore our, it looks like our lavender's going off the fabric, but in the end, it'll be straight and it will look correct. So I got that in. Next order of operations is dealing with this Ellagance purple. Let me go get my tools. All right, I had time to freshen up, get some ice water, put on a sun hat. It's getting warm out here. I'm in our Ellagance purple row, and I should have come in earlier this spring. Ooh, before I twist an ankle. Should have came in earlier this spring and like shaved off the tops, because what had happened is it late in the season last year, it had reflushed a whole set of blooms and we didn't harvest them and we left them on. So what we have is a bunch of crispy tops from last year's growth, mixed in with this year's new growth. So I think the issue that we're gonna have is whenever I go to harvest the new stuff is all the other crusty stuff is gonna be in there as well. So I did get these beautiful little hedge trimmers, little handheld hedge trimmers off of Amazon. I will link them below, but they have a little blade, a little hedge trimmer blade that's about, I don't know, 8 to 10 inches long. What I'm going to do, and you can kind of see, I should show you before we get far what I mean. Let me give you a good example. Right in here. So you can see this is last year's crusty growth, and then it's pushing new purple growth. Hopefully that's focusing in there. So what I think I'm gonna do is just come in here, forfeit this early spring bloom, and I'm going to give them a nice haircut. Now you can see that we did lose quite a bit of this variety. So wherever it is really crispy, I won't touch them and then I'll have to pull them later. But I think in order to get a really nice harvest bunch of this Ellagance purple, which is a great English lavender, this is what I've been making some coffee syrups out of and stuff. I think what I need to do is just give it a haircut. I'm pretty sure that it will shoot new growth this summer yet, and then we can harvest later in the season instead of mixing in the new with the old crusties. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't know if that's the right way to go about it. I should have been on it more this spring in maintenance wise of this, and then we wouldn't have to do it now, but that is how we learn, and I am learning. I do not know everything about lavender, but I am willing to learn as we go. So I'm going to take my hedge trimmers and I'm just going to shave off and forfeit some of these early spring blooms in hopes that it will push abundance of beautiful new growth that we can have a clean harvest bundle later in the season. So let's get to work, and it's getting hot. Crispy, half crispy. This is the only variety that looks a little wonky. One thing I just thought of is if you're new to cutting lavender or pruning lavender, you don't want to cut into the woody part of the lavender because that will kill it or very much hinder it. So whenever I'm doing these cuts, like I'm just shaving off the new growth that was pushing this year and trying to get rid of those old bloom stalks. So keep that in mind if you are harvesting or pruning your lavender at home. You don't want to cut into the thick woody part of the lavender. There are some lavender farmers that will not let it create like a super big woody base. So if you are pruning and cutting your lavender from the start, not letting it develop that woody base, then you're good. But on some of those, just keep that in mind when you're harvesting or pruning back your lavender in the spring or fall. I know it doesn't look like much, but both rows are shaved. It's kind of satisfying, you know, there was dead parts on top, and so you just shave that clean, and it's just like a nice little haircut for these guys. And I think that it'll really do them good to just push new growth and get rid of that dead. There are quite a handful, probably about, I don't know, 12 to 20 of them that I need to come in and pluck out, which will make it look a lot nicer. So maybe one evening I'll come out here and it'll be nice just to do that when it's not so hot. One last thing checked off the list for our spring chore list. SuperBlue and Sensational went into our fields. It was a successful morning of work, and our Ellagance purple got a haircut. So besides watering in what we got planted today, I think that's about it. I'm going to get ready to get mowing, and I haven't mentioned on here, but here in a month, here come June, when I'm sure everything is going to be ready for harvesting, I get to actually go to Provence, France, and I am so excited to see the lavender fields in France, which is what our lavender fields are inspired by. So I'm going to be bringing you guys along for that. So stay tuned. We have harvesting coming up. We have a lot of chores to get done around here. There's a weekly chore of mowing. It's the constant. It's what keeps us busy. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. We will see you next week here at the Eliot Estate. Bye-bye.